My name is PJ Thompson, and I am presenting today on how successful events lead to successful profits. All right, if it's not, tell me.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
And I work for the Alumni Association, so first I wanted to start by telling you about the Alumni Association and what we do, because a lot of what we do pertains to the topic of having successful events to lead to successful profits. The Alumni Association, we have 21 board members that consist of alumni all over the country. Those board members are the people who make the decisions on what we do with our money as the association. As part of the association and the event, there are several aspects of it. There's commencement and annual fund, there's membership, and there's also alumni events. I coordinate the alumni events. We coordinate 40 events per year around the country, including some here in Charleston, such as Homecoming. And the purpose of many of our events is not only to raise money for the university, but also to connect with alumni and make them remember all of the fun times that they had. We call it friend raising. So we like to make friends for the university, because although we know everybody isn't able to donate to the university, they may have access to a resource that may be able to help the university. So, like I said, we plan about 40 events per year. This is our website, and the next big thing that we have coming up is Homecoming. But I'll click on the alumni events link, and you'll see that we just hosted a reception and champagne on Saturday at the School of Continuing Education Alumni Luncheon at Parkland College. When we have our events, we always make sure the event has a purpose. After going back, we always identify the population that we want to outreach. Then we always make sure that the event has a purpose. And then we always try to connect fundraising to that purpose. So for the School of Continuing Education alumni, we hosted a luncheon for them because many of them, their classes took place in Champaign at the community college, our remote locations. And so for them, they've never been to campus. They don't really have an EIU connection. So we started by at Parkland at the art gallery, which is literally right around the corner from the EIU Center there. But that's the place that they were comfortable. So our target was anyone who received a degree through the Board of General Studies or the Board of Trustees degree, depending on what it was called at that time. Mainly all those people are continuing ed alumni, so those are people who maybe went to school and had kids and school wasn't a priority for 20 years. And so now they're going back to school to get their degree so that they can kind of complete everything that they wanted to in their life. So we went to Parkland College to the art gallery. We had a reception there for them. People from the university were there from the continuing education department, some of their advisors, some of their professors. Also, they got the opportunity to connect with other alumni. And as a part of that, we also had the director of philanthropy on hand for the event. So we provided lunch for them. We provided some entertainment for them. We gave them lots of EIU giveaways, and that included things like coming back for the homecoming football game, tickets for that, gift certificates to the bookstore, anything to get them engaged that gets them to campus since they've never been here. Like I said, we had the director of philanthropy for their area on hand, and she was able to talk to them about the scholarships in their area. When we talk about scholarships, we try to remind people of what it was like for them being a college student, and how if they didn't have the resources that they wish they should have, that they give back so that the current students have those resources. So we talked about several scholarships that the Continuing Education Department is starting, and then she also asked for a gift. And so we let people know that any gift we appreciate, whether it's $1, whether it's $1 million, we still appreciate the gift. And so that's just one successful event we've had. We've been doing this event for 3 years, and so it's been a gradual thing. The first year we had it, we only had about 20 people show up because everybody thought that we were asking for money, and in fact, the first time we didn't ask for any money, we just said, come have lunch with us. And the second time we hosted it, we didn't ask for money, but we mentioned the idea that scholarships are important to our students, and the only way those scholarships can be funded is through alumni dollars or gifts through, like, you know, if you work for a corporation and they match gifts and you might donate 50, your company will donate 50. And then this year, we did a full-blown ask and just flat out asked them to donate funds. We gave them donation cards so that they can mail those in. We told people that they could promise gifts on the spot if they wanted to set up pledges. So as a result of that, we're hoping that the Continuing Education Department will receive some funding from those alumni for scholarships. So that's just one example of how our office works and how planning events, we hope that the events we plan will lead to a profit for the organization. Profit doesn't mean success, but we still would like for there to be some type of a positive profit return off of an event, especially for alumni. Another big thing that we do here on campus is homecoming. And we talked about how we divide events and we make sure that things are targeted to specific populations. And so with the homecoming website, we broke things down by students, alumni, friends, faculty, and staff. The students portion of that, of course, pertains specifically to events that are being sponsored by students, events that are catered to students. And so it'll have a list of all of the events that are events for students. As you can see, it'll show all of the events for students, including those that have a fee. Part of having successful events is getting information out early. The earlier you can get the information out, the better off you are. Because that gives people more time to plan for the event, that gives people more time to clear their schedule and things like that. So on our homecoming website, we broke things down for the students and we put things there so that if the students need to know what they need to find, it's all under the student link for them. Same thing for faculty and staff. There are some things that of course overlap because we want everybody to participate. However, there are some things that we've highlighted for faculty and staff, such as the office and department decorating contest, different things like that, that cater just to that specific population. And then another example, of course, is just the alumni and friends link. That has information for anyone who is a friend of the university, such as people in the community, in addition to all of our alumni. As a part of the alumni portion, which I can speak the most about, we host several events within homecoming. Of course, all of these we hope lead to a successful return from, but we host a 50th class reunion every year. So this year it's the class of 1961. We have about 60 of them coming back. We host a dinner for them. The president gives them their 50th anniversary pin. They go to the football game. It's an opportunity. We host a reception for them. It's an opportunity for the 50th class to come back, remember all the fun times and things that they did here at Eastern. It's a time for them to remember the people that didn't make it back for one reason or another. And it's an opportunity for them to, again, be re-engaged and connected with the institution. And so, of course, when you're dealing with people who are 50 years removed from the institution, of course that means that you have to pay attention to special dietary needs, you have to pay attention to special physical needs, you have to pay attention to all of the things that elderly people would be concerned about when planning that event. For example, if the 50th class reunion, we wouldn't have it in a building where there's not an elevator, because a lot of people probably couldn't make it up the stairs depending on where it was, or make it downstairs. We also make sure that we host a 50th class reunion somewhere where it's close enough to restrooms and different things for people who may have needs where they may have to get to a restroom. We also keep in mind that many of these people don't drive and that family members bring them, so we have to be mindful of that when planning, because we know that we can't plan a Friday night event for the 50th class because most of them probably won't be driving. They'll be bringing family members will be bringing them. The Alumni Awards dinner is a little bit different because that is marketed to all alumni, and a majority of them are not a part of the 50th class. And so with that event, we have nominations that take place all year. If anyone can nominate an alum for a variety variety of awards. And as a part of that, the alumni come back and give a speech about why Eastern shaped them to be the person that they are. Again, we have another reception and a nice meal and things like that. However, it takes a lot of planning for these events. We start planning homecoming probably in February, and so that's about 8 months worth of planning that we put into homecoming week. Homecoming weekend, rather. That's not including the activities that Student Side takes care of during the week. And so I can't stress enough that it's very important to plan ahead to have a successful event. We have a formula that we use in our office. I don't think there's a calendar on here, but we always plan our events 6 months ahead of time. And so what that means is the day of the event, we count back 2 weeks, and we know that we have to have our final deadline for RSVPs about 2 weeks before the event. And then we count back another 3 weeks before that, so that we allow time for the piece to get out in the mail. 6 weeks before that, we count back 6 weeks before that, and that we have to have all of our room reservations done at that point. We have to have all of our contracts at that point. We have to have everything to submit to our marketing committee so that they can create a design for us. Once that design is created, if it needs to be edited, we'll send it back. If it doesn't, we'll approve it, and then that piece is sent to print to be printed, and then we send it out for marketing. So altogether, that's about 12 weeks of just planning, and then that doesn't include the research and preliminary work that you put into looking into how many alumni are in a specific area to determine if it's even worth having an event there, looking at how many alumni in that area, their age group, to determine whether or not you want to host a baseball outing, or if you want to host a Saturday afternoon luncheon, or if you want to host a, soiree where it's a black tie affair. All of that kind of depends on the number of people that you have in a particular area, and if you think that you'll be able to ultimately sell your tickets. The one thing in successful event planning that you don't want to do is over budget. It's better to plan for 30 people and have 50 show up and need to order extra than to plan for 50 and only have 30 show up and have a lot of leftover stuff and be in the red because you didn't watch your numbers. We've had events that range in size from 10 people to thousands of people. And the planning for it is all the same. In order for it to be successful, you have to start very early, making sure that you have everything outlined, making sure that you communicate with the people who have to be there as much as possible, at least 3 or 4 times, reiterating location, time, place, parking, attire, all of those things. If there's a ticket for the event, we always mail our tickets out about 2 weeks before the event, because if you mail it out too much before that, people lose it. If you mail it out too much after that, people start to get nervous that they haven't gotten a ticket yet. So those are just some of the things that we do in the Alumni Services Office to make sure that our events are successful. Many of our events have led to a positive return. Well, all of our events lead to a positive return because we add an additional $5 to each ticket so that everybody donates to a scholarship of their choice for every event that we host. So that's kind of our way of making sure that we always have a successful profit from each event. Some other things that we do when we send out order forms, we always put at the bottom something along the lines of, I would like to make an additional gift. And we also do that because there have been times when people who cannot attend the event will still mail the registration form back with the gift because they could not attend. So just making sure that we always put the ask out there really helps the process. We have people donate $5. We've had people donate $500, through the mail just saying I can't attend.